You're watching Force 13 Live.
Hello and welcome to Force 13 Live. My name is Nathan Foy and we're looking at this. I'm joined by Craig this afternoon. Hello, Craig. Oh, sorry, I've not turned your volume up. Hello, Craig.
Hello there, Nathan.
Yes, hello. We're looking at Hurricane Patricia. In a word, Craig?
Hyper. But that's probably not the word to describe it, really.
200 miles per hour at this time. We've never seen that before since satellites. It's got pressure of 880 millibars. That's the strongest storm ever in the Eastern Pacific, bar none. And it is the strongest wind speed in the East Pacific, bar none as well. In fact, anywhere except the Western Pacific, and you've got a record here.
Yep, it's obviously my strongest storm by a mile, blowing Solar out of the water completely, cleaning the floor with him, making a lot of history, breaking records. That basically this is what this hurricane's doing right now, and also could make a Cat 5 landfall, which is probably the worst case scenario, which is going to be sad if it does.
Well, the very edge of the eye wall is, well,
nearly
still
there.
offshore, but some banding associated with that eye wall is sort of making its way there. There's just the two of us here today at the moment. I don't know if anyone else will be joining us later on. If you would like to join the discussion on our Skype chat, just add Fool13 on Skype, FOOL13, or if you've got any comments for us on the YouTube page, go ahead and send it in, and we'll reply, of course. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of comments. There's already been plenty already. I'm just looking at the comments right now, and yes. What?
Oh, I'm just laughing, really.
Oh, Craig's actually on webcam. That's rare. We never see you on webcam very much, Craig.
No, that's because I just can't be bothered from anyone.
Yeah. That's helpful. Patricia, 200 miles. No, actually, it is truly for reasons that only us two know. Typhoon Champy has winds of 100 miles an hour, by the way, in the West Pacific, and Hurricane Olaf has actually strengthened to reach winds of 120 miles an hour. But what we're following right now is Patricia. Let's go straight to the National Hurricane Center and the warnings that are currently in effect. They're the same warning as what they were last night. A hurricane warning is in effect from San Blas to Punta San Telmo. A hurricane watch is in effect from east of Punta San Telmo to Lazaro Cardenas, I think it was. And same too for tropical storm warning. So hurricane watch, tropical storm warning in effect for those areas. But the hurricane warning is where we're going to see the landfall and the Category 5 winds likely on that landfall. When was the last time you saw a National Hurricane Center graphic that said 200 miles per hour on it? That's not a typo, and that's never happened before, ever.
I've never seen such power. Never. All my years tracking, well, not all my years, but all 1 year near enough of tracking storms, I've never seen such power. The closest I've probably come to it is Typhoon Solar, but, you know, it's just a tremendous force in nature showing what it can do.
Haiyan.
Showing, and Haiyan, I remember that one. Well, I'll always remember that one. But this is another one to stick in our minds, possibly, who knows, maybe forever.
Well, it's potentially stronger than Haiyan.
Yeah, there's some people saying that it's cleaned the floor with Haiyan. I'm not sure about that, because it's only 5 miles an hour difference. Yes, it is a lot more intense.
It's unknown how strong Haiyan actually was because there were no planes in it, so we don't know. Haiyan could have been anything. But this storm, Patricia, what we're focusing on right now, closing in on Mexico, and we're sort of baffled here, aren't we?
We are, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting to wake up to a 185 mile an hour Cat 5 hurricane, nor was I expecting to find out that it just jumped from that to 200.
It's just remarkable. Sorry, go on.
Nathan, we've just got a question here from Hank. I think it's Hank Dulles. Will it get stronger than tip?
Well, I wish Devon was here because he raised a very good point earlier on today.
Yes.
When he said that if you factor in the environmental pressure around the storm, it's actually, in a way, stronger than tip, but not actually stronger than tip.
Yeah.
It's remarkable strength, and who knows when we'll see a storm like this again.
That's true, because it's probably maybe like 50 years, maybe 100 years, who knows, because it is very likely it will happen again now, but who knows when, but it is very likely to happen again.
And don't forget that wind speed is one thing, but air pressure is another thing. Of course, Typhoon Tip had a lower wind speed than Haiyan. It was only 190, I think, only, but it had a pressure of 870 millibars. So it depends which one you feel is most important. If you're living in Mexico, the wind speed is obviously going to be most important. If you're an observer, it's probably going to be the air pressure that's most important, because that's the best indication of how strong, how intense a storm actually is. But of course, it's bad news for Mexico either way.
Yeah.
And wherever this storm decides to make landfall, it's going to be Category 5 winds, and it's going to be utter devastation. And I don't want to scare people, but I'm afraid that is the only thing that's going to happen here is total devastation where the storm makes landfall. And I'm just looking at that latest infrared imagery, and even though the whole donut round the eye itself has potentially weakened ever so slightly, the bit that's closest to the eye has actually gained strength in those last few frames, with the colours getting more grey there. It's quite difficult to judge, but it still is very strong, and it's probably maintained intensity, and I think I'd agree with the latest ATCF from 12 Zulu saying that it's 200 miles an hour still. I've just woken up. Don't mind me.
We'll give you a break.
Yeah. No, I've actually not only just woken up. I've been awake for 3 hours, but my mind's a bit preoccupied because I'm on vacation in an hour. But I've come here to do a live event just before I jet set.
Get jet lag.
And get not so much, I don't think. Just so that everyone knows what's going on with the storm. Obviously, Devon and Jason and whoever else does the live events on Force 13 will be keeping you up to date with more events later on today, I hope. And some recorded updates as well, probably. But unfortunately, I won't be here because I won't have internet connection at an airport or in goodness knows wherever I'm going. Yeah.
But we could all just take, Patricia at a glance, saying that it is an absolute monster. I was watching, believe it or not, the BBC weather forecast for it. They said the weather forecast that was there doing the forecast did say that Patricia is the biggest hurricane in that area ever in the Western Hemisphere.
The strongest storm in the Western Hemisphere, no doubt.
Oh yeah, that is a really, really worrying sign, because is this meaning that storms are getting stronger, or really who knows? But you can tell in the satellite imagery that that Patricia is trying to grow, what she is doing. She is actually growing in size. She's getting bigger and bigger.
No, Rob, I'm not going to Mexico. Sorry.
And I don't want to.
As much as I'd have liked to go there and record this storm and document how strong it actually is, one, it's risking your life, and two, I probably couldn't afford the flight fare.
Oh yeah, that's true. And here's the thing: it'd probably be a bit, as I was going to say before you said that, Nathan, I'd say it would be a bit suicidal even going there, because you know, you've got a 200-mile-an-hour Category 5 hurricane
I'm sure someone
bearing
will, though.
down on you. Oh, apparently there's ice cyclone going down there, and everyone else sitting right in its path. I mean, tell you, you've got to have nerves just to go down there knowing that you've got a 200-mile-an-hour Cat 5 bearing down on you.
And it could strengthen even more yet. The National Hurricane Centre said at their latest advisory that the storm is likely to intensify yet further to 205 miles per hour. And goodness knows what the pressure's going to be when that happens. Could be 870s.
Oh God! That's the unpredictable thing. What will it be at? Because it's the worrying. The worrying thing is, will it get to that power? But it's already there. It's already flexing its muscles. Say, look at me, how strong I am. I mean, that's the last thing you really want to see coming towards your country is a 200 mile an hour Category 5.
Yeah, but we can't even say 200. We keep struggling by saying
I know,
100 and something.
because that's how used we are saying 100 and something. We're not used to saying 200 miles per hour.
All right.
You'd only probably say that with tornadoes and that, but you wouldn't say that with hurricanes. Not normally.
Just want to point out what the sea surface temperatures are around the storm right now. They're very warm, in a word. Sea surface temperatures around Patricia around 29 or 30 degrees Celsius. Wow, certainly warm enough to sustain a storm. The Gulf of Mexico fairly warm, 28 degrees, except the far north of the Gulf of Mexico, which is below 26. Elsewhere around the world, where Olaf is, I think it's around 26 or 27 degrees there. In the Indian Ocean, it's very warm, 30 degrees on either side of India and off the coast of Thailand and Myanmar, Burma. And the Western Pacific, very warm as well, 28 degrees on a large swathe of the West Pacific even now. Very warm all year round, quite often. Craig, you've got the wind shear map.
Yeah, the wind shear for the East Pac, it's looking a little bit hostile for Patricia, but that's clearly not stopped it. What was it, 24 hours ago it was only a tropical storm, was it? I'm not quite sure, but I think it was. And now it's an absolute monster. The wind shear doesn't look like it's even affected it, but you can tell decreasing wind shear. Well, the hurricanes switch track doesn't like it.
Things in the way. There it is.
It doesn't look like the hurricane will change track and follow the low decreasing wind shear. It looks, sadly, it does look like it will make a landfall. It does look like it will.
Oh, I think the landfall is absolutely unquestionable at this point.
Yes, especially at this power.
The question is, where exactly is it going to make landfall? Exactly. Is it going to make landfall in a sparsely populated part of the coastline, or is it going to go a little bit further north than we anticipate, and that would mean that Predovalado is going to be in deep trouble, or will it go a little bit south of what we think, and that Manzanillo will then be in deep trouble, even as it, as it moves inland, it's going to weaken very quickly, but even the city of Guadalajara could also have serious problems with this storm as well. Just looking at the map there. So at the moment, you can definitely see how the storm has curved, and it does appear to be slightly east of north now. So this is the final approach, folks.
This is its last swing.
We're looking at a landfall in a matter of hours. I don't know how long it's going to be. If I try to extrapolate how long it's been during the start of this loop here that we're looking at, it's travelled not very far in that time, so it's probably about 14 hours away, I'd say.
Well, it's got to make landfall in the next 9 hours for the next advisory, so it'll be there, and apparently it will be at, well, it could be at 205 miles per hour.
That's just offshore there, isn't it? So
yeah, just offshore, but it could make landfall at that power intensity.
Yeah, it's probably less than 14 hours, because that's extrapolated, and the storm is expected to actually accelerate as it moves towards the north.
Which it's actually doing now, because
as many storms do.
But this is what it says. It's moving. Hurricane Patricia is moving at 12 miles per hour north-northwest.
No.
At 12 miles per hour. 200 mile an hour Category 5 hurricane as of Friday the 23rd of October 2015. Just looking at it and just reading that, it's it's gobsmacking just to read it.
Martinez has a question. Should Texas start evacuating when facing for the worst when Patricia arrives from the flooding? I mean, I don't really know what the situation is in Texas right now, but I know David said in last night's show that there's even been flooding there recently. So it obviously won't help matters, but I do think that the Mexican mountains will really tear this storm apart, and even a 200-mile-an-hour monster like this will probably not really survive as very much by the time it arrives in Texas. Southern Texas obviously is going to be more of a concern, but along the coast as well. I mean, if it does, I mean, we were looking at the tracks last night on the models, and if you saw our earlier update from just an hour ago or so, we showed the track forecast, the track of the storm going not over the Gulf of Mexico, but very close and staying over Texas. So it probably will dump a bit of rain there. We'll show you the models in just a moment. I just want to point out another question here. Robin says, surely this kind of storm is argument enough to make Category 6 a thing?
Well, that's what we were discussing on a live event earlier.
The Alpha Wolf says, I agree, but people say there's no point, and I'll tell you why there's no point. Because the reason why they've never done a Category 6 is because 160 miles an hour is a Category 5 storm, we all know that, and that destroys pretty much everything in its wake. So 200 miles an hour can't really destroy much more than what a 160 mile an hour storm does, and that's the main reason, I'm told, why it stays at Category 5 and no Cat 6.
Yes.
But
just to point out, if it was a Cat 6, it wouldn't be a Cat 6, it would be a Cat 7, because obviously 200 miles an hour.
On.
But I'm not going to ruin the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale just to put 2 extra categories on it. I'd keep it down at Cat 5 though.
Worldwide, it isn't the first storm to join the 200 club. It's actually, unofficially, the 6th storm to join the 200 club. I'll tell you all the other ones, and most of them are, well, quite a lot of them are disputed. I'll tell you the ones that are disputed first. Typhoon Wanda in 1956 reached a wind speed of 200 miles an hour according to Air Force reconnaissance. Its pressure was 910 though. I don't think you can have 200 miles an hour in 910. That sounds a bit fishy, Fisher. 1955. This one is the most crazy. I think it's been changed since I wrote this data, but at one point it was saying that Typhoon Ruth had winds of 220 miles per hour, but a pressure of 924, so I think we can discount that one as well.
Yeah.
The believable ones, Nancy of 1961, very believable because it was a Category 5 for over 5 days. And it was 215 miles per hour apparently, and a pressure of 882. That sounds a bit more like it. Violet of 1961, the same year, had winds of 205 miles an hour and a pressure of 882. The most believable one, if you're going to choose any of them, apart from our newest one, is going to be Typhoon Ida of 1958 in the West Pacific, reached wind speeds of 200 miles an hour and its pressure was 877. And here's Patricia, the latest one and the only one that is undoubtedly true, without any disputations on it at all. 200 miles an hour and a pressure of 880. So it's actually the second most intense 200 mile an hour storm ever.
Yep. This thing's making top 5 in at least the most intense tropical cyclones worldwide.
Yeah, I know people just joining us are saying, wow, what the hell's going on? At 200 miles an hour? It is true. We're not blowing up the figure at all. The National Hurricane Centre's latest forecast says that the storm is at 200 miles per hour and is expected to intensify even further to 205 miles per hour according to the NHC's latest forecast.
We're not joking with you people. The
next National Hurricane Centre forecast will be out at the next update will be out at in just less than 2 hours, by which point I'll be at an airport somewhere. Probably the same one as the Chinese president right now. Yes, he's come to Manchester for the day. So I won't be here to do anything about that update, I'm afraid, but I'm sure the Force 13 team will keep you up to date with everything that's going on with this storm right now. Okay? If you're living in Mexico, if you're between Manzanillo and Preda move. If you're in Manzanillo or Preda you must be really, really confident about your building integrity, because it's going to be a Category 5 unlike anything that you've ever seen before. It's going to be worse if it stays like this, which I don't see any reason why it can't. It might not, but it looks like it will. If it stays this way, it will be worse than any hurricane that's ever made landfall in Mexico, worse than the 1959 Mazatlan hurricane, which hit Mexico as a Category 5. It'll be worse than that, and that caused, oh goodness, can't remember exactly what that one did anymore. I'll look that one up. The 1959 hurricane did, what did he do? Where is it? There it is.
Damage.
It made landfall as, sorry?
It did a lot of damage. That's what it because I think I remember reading up on it.
Yeah, that storm is the most intense storm to make landfall in Mexico, and it, oh, we've lost it again. There it is. It made landfall with winds of 160 miles an hour. It caused $280 million back in 1959. In today's money, that's 2.2 billion. It caused 1,800 fatalities, and it destroyed 6,400 buildings. And I think this storm will be worse. But you can stop it from being worse in terms of death toll by evacuating.
Yeah, just getting the hell out of there. Because, and here's the question that experts are asking a lot of people: why move to the coasts? Why? You know you're going to get hit by these things.
Well,
maybe not at this, strength, but you could get hit by a Cat 5. Maybe not at the wind speeds of 200 miles per hour. Maybe 160, 165, that sort of range. But
I think it's quite difficult to discourage people from living on the coast, Craig.
Maybe they want to experience it, but it's totally fine. I'm not going to tell you don't go near the coast.
Well, don't go near the coast right now.
Not when there's a hurricane or something coming. Don't go near the coast when that sort of thing's coming.
Yeah,
unless you're absolutely confident on what your escape plan is.
Common sense would dictate to everyone right now. If you see the satellite imagery here, if you live anywhere in between Manzanillo and Puerto Vallarta, move. And if you live in those cities, particularly in Manzanillo, I get confused between the two. Manzanillo, if you live there, then you could well be in trouble with that latest turn in track there. Craig, would you be able to show us something whilst I look up some more information?
Yeah, I'm just currently looking at the latest satellite imagery. The eye wall has now re-intensified. The outer eye wall has intensified even further, so this could be just about to peak right now. This thing could be about to peak. This thing is really worrying right now. This is probably I don't want to really say it, but I think I'm gonna have to. Somebody's gonna have to say it, that it is definitely a life and death situation. There's probably no doubt about it that it is a life and death situation, because that looks like it could have just went and intensified. I need to find, well, the latest advisory obviously still 200 miles per hour, but that's still awesome power. That is still really, really incredible. Seeing 200 miles per hour in a Cat 5.
It appears to be moving north-northwest right now, and if you extrapolate its current track, it's probably going to make landfall somewhere near La Manzanilla or Melark, I think it is. If you know of those two places, then if you know anyone who is in those two places who hasn't evacuated, then they're in massive trouble.
Well, please talk them out to get them out of there, because as Nathan said at the start, you must be confident at your house's integrity and their structure, because remember, this as I compared this to a tornado, this is the equivalent at the moment of an EF3 tornado, but if it gets up to 207, it's the equivalent of a low-end EF4, so I wouldn't hang about.
Crazy. Alright.
It's barely unthinkable if you think about it, because, well, I don't know why I said think about it, but it's unthinkable to hear and see this sort of power coming towards you, or even track it. It's basically unknown territory.
Yeah.
And I know it's happened before, but did it actually happen? Was it recorded? Did this, there's a lot of things that could doubt it, but it's seeing it in front of yourself. It's there, and just seeing the power of a 200 miles an hour Cat 5, which could intensify further. It's hard to put into words on how you're going to try and describe it. It is hard, really, really hard.
Sorry. Rob says, I do think they need scarier names for hurricanes and typhoons. Like Hurricane Voldemort and Typhoon Skeletor.
Voldemort!
No.
That's not scary.
It is if you're a magician.
Really?
Yes. Okay.
Just for those of you that don't know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you probably a hilarious one just to try and cheer the viewers up. But I know there is a really bad situation with the hurricane and that. But there was an extratropical cyclone, which some of you may know, that hits the UK in 2012. Its name.
Oh, you're not talking about that one, are you?
Of all names,
Oh, God.
right? Me and Nathan know this, but of all names, they named it Ballbag.
Yeah, Hurricane Ballbag.
Yep.
Ahmet
Well,
says, basically this hurricane is well over the specification of Cat 5, but there is not a Cat 6, so why? We discussed that a little bit earlier on. A Category 5 it's a rather open-ended scale actually. Category 5 begins at 160 miles an hour, but it has no upper limit, so Category 5 is the maximum, and there's no reason for a Category 6 because a 200 mile an hour Category 5 storm will do the same amount of damage as a 160 mile an hour Category 5 storm, except perhaps over a wider area.
Yeah, because it's probably going to do a lot more damage over Mexico, because it's going to be widespread damage. Probably, I don't know how far the 200 mile an hour winds are actually stretching from the centre.
Oh, I doubt it's very much, but Category 5 winds would be pretty big.
I need to check the wind field of it.
And tropical storm force. Let me get the latest information from the National Hurricane Centre regarding the amount of winds coming from the particular intensity scales.
The wind field's actually coming out quite a bit, and the Cat 5 forces are near enough coming out to where the Cat 4 is, so you're probably looking at a absolute monster. Well, not absolute monster, but you're already.
Yes, it says hurricane force winds extend 30 miles from the centre, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 175 miles. That's in all directions, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
That is 45 kilometres for hurricane force winds and 280 kilometres for tropical storm force winds. There's the track map from the National Hurricane Centre showing the hurricane warnings in effect from, I've forgotten the names, San Blas to Punta Santelmo, that's the hurricane warning, and a hurricane watch and tropical storm warning simultaneously in effect from Punta Santelmo to Lazaro Cardenas right now.
Yeah. As you may just see here in the wind field, you can see land of Mexico being affected by tropical depression winds, and probably obviously getting some inclement weather, obviously due to the spiral bands and the outer fringe of the hurricane. But as we can't stress enough, please heed the warnings and watches. This is not a storm to take for granted, because this is a life-threatening situation.
Visible imagery is probably not very far away either for this storm. The first daylight imagery. Yes, it's just arriving. We've sort of got it half and half there. It's just about to reach the centre of the storm with the visible imagery there. So give it another 30 minutes and hopefully we will be able to see the first visible image of this storm right now. And
add its integrity.
It's going to be something to behold, I'm sure.
Oh yes, but I'm not sure if you can actually see the outer edge of the eye wall here. You can actually see the banding around it. That's just how well this hurricane has banded. It's really compact. So the tighter the hurricane is, I think, more force it's going to carry. So the more impact is going to have when it makes landfall. So it's a very well organised hurricane, but
Yeah,
it's
ridiculous intensity. Later on today, we'll obviously be doing more live streams. If you've just joined us, I won't be here very soon because I'm actually on vacation in 30 minutes. Craig won't be. He'll still be here.
I'll still be here.
I'll be trying to stay up to date. There's nothing I can do about a plane to catch, and I'm not going to Mexico. Obviously the team, the Force 13 team here, will keep doing live events and whatnot as the storm draws ever closer to land. I'm sure someone will pick up the baton after I leave you guys. That's going to be in half an hour. So just obviously you want to, if you're going to stay up to date on the Force 13 channel. You'll be notified about the new videos. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. There'll be regular updates on there. Search Force 13 all in text on Facebook and Twitter to find out the latest updates. And you can add Fool 13 on Skype if you want to speak to me personally on Skype, and to also join the team chat room where you can also discuss the latest information on this storm and indeed any other storm that forms in future on that chat room as well. Craig?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to really say. But I don't know whether we could discuss it. The other storms are active, like Olaf, and how that's intensified again.
We can give them a quick mention. We'll go have a look at Olaf right now because
Olaf
I think we've pretty much covered all bases with.
It's not updated yet.
Patricia
Central
right
Pacific Hurricane Center has not updated yet, but as far as I know, it is up to 120 miles an hour again.
They're not going to update for an hour and a half yet.
Yes, and also Champy on the downside again, which is probably the best thing because.
Champy looking, that's on its way out, definitely.
And Olaf, well, that's not looking like it's re-intensified. That looks like that's on its way out as well. Tropical Depression 26, well, that dissipated yesterday evening.
That's gone.
That's just a remnant. Hurricane Patricia, obviously the main point of concern. Also in the Southern Hemisphere, we have 92S, which is battling on strong against wind shear. It's still it's back for some time now, but it's doing quite well to hold on in there.
The image that you're looking at right now is the Force 13 storm tracking map, which will address all your needs with what's going on right now. The website for that is www.force-13, that's the number 13.com/tracker. So force-13.com/tracker, where you can see the latest information on those storms, which is presented to you by our team member Jason, who's a whiz on the computer, and I'm not.
It's not your fault that you're not. It's not your fault.
I do the graphics and the animations and the presenting.
And to give you credit, you do actually do a pretty good job of it. So does Jason on the computer admin stuff. He does a fantastic job of it.
Stephen's got a question saying it's the 33rd major hurricane with 115 miles an hour, as I reported earlier on, of 2015, and he wants to know what the record is. Let me get that information up for you. My archives go back to 1989 for that information, and the record for major hurricanes. Okay, it's been beaten.
What?
Yeah, it's already got more major hurricanes than any other season, any other year ever. The previous record was 1992, which had 32 major hurricanes, and 1999, which had 31 major hurricanes, as did 2004. So 2015 has more major hurricanes than any other year on record. It's got 9 Category 5 storms, which is still 4 away from the record 13 set in 1997, but it will grab second place if there's another Cat 5. It will draw level with 2014, which had 10 Category 5 storms. In terms of hurricane activity, we've seen 46 hurricanes form. The record was set in 1997 when there were 60. And for tropical storms, we're currently at 81. The average is 85, and the record is around 100. The number is disputed. If you've got any particular questions for us, go right ahead, and I'll try and see any comments, because they're just whizzing by. There's so many comments, obviously.
Jason sent me this link and this image of Hurricane Patricia, latest visible imagery.
So it's
There's
just
the
about
eye.
arriving, isn't it? Yeah.
The eye's just been shown by the light, and you can tell in this area, or in this visible image, that it's an absolute beast. I would actually love to see this completely illuminated by daylight, because I reckon this thing's an absolute monster. It looks a monster. It certainly is proving to be a monster, but does it look like one in daylight? And I believe Devon has joined us.
I've no idea. I've not got eyes.
I think Devon has joined us.
I don't know if he's able to talk or not. He wasn't earlier, so he's here.
Very lowly. Very lowly.
Very lowly.
Oh, very
This is
lowly.
about as high as I want to talk. I'm in my science building right now.
I see. Well, this is important, Devon.
Come on!
Shout at the top of your voice.
Yes, I realize this is very
Yeah,
important.
of course.
I understand that, but there's also classes going on around me and whatnot. I don't want to be yelling. If I didn't think it was important, I wouldn't be on this live stream right
Absolutely.
now. I've got 35 minutes until I got to go off to class.
Oh.
So, I'll have to go off before then.
Yes. Well, we're going to be finished in 20 minutes, so.
Yeah.
Okay. First thing I want to say is that this storm changes everything.
I'm going to
expand on that.
There's never been before 200-mile-an-hour winds sustained, reliably recorded, or quote-unquote reliably recorded in any hurricane, typhoon, or tropical cyclone worldwide.
On that, I'm going to
Enough
agree with
said.
Devon there, because that broken
What I'm
unit
going to say is
a lot
that
of
this
old
storm,
records.
Potentially not only breaks these records, but also potentially validates the 200-mile-an-hour plus storms from back in the early 60s.
So it does.
Oh, yes.
Potentially validates them.
Potentially, I'm not saying that it does.
Oh, Jason's got a
But,
new
you
image.
know-
Well, you got to
Nope,
say,
so-
if this happens in the East Pacific, then what's to say it doesn't happen in the West Pacific?
Oh!
I don't know
No.
if you're able to receive this latest image from myself, showing the first visible image of the
That's a
storm.
monster. That is
No.
an absolute monster.
Imagine if they got a Hurricane Hunter
Who's
into
ringing me now?
Oh, dear.
Typhoon Haiyan and Typhoon Bopha.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
I mean, Haiyan and Bopha, they would be two the strongest storms in the West Pacific, no doubt in my mind. But now
Bopha?
Yes, Bopha.
No, surely not.
Surely not.
Surely
Why would you say not?
Well, Bopha wasn't that strong.
Bopha was pretty impressive on satellite to me.
I don't
I
think
mean,
it's the
Bopha
most
was-
impressive, though.
Bopha, along with Patricia and Haiyan, and Monica as well. These are the only four storms that I
of
know
course.
to have the darkest gray ring on the Dvorak wrapped all the way around the eye.
Yeah.
They're the only four storms.
All right.
That should tell you enough about the system. 880 millibars for a system as tight and compact as this. Hurricane force winds only extend out 30 miles from the center. This is
30 miles. I was surprised to see a number as low as that, to be honest.
This storm, the hurricane force winds and the radius of maximum winds, is actually very similar to the 1935 hurricane. It's also similar to Andrew
Yeah.
in almost all aspects.
I'm just getting another image up. Here's a visible image showing what the storm looks like right now. Oh, you guys can't see it on the screen share. It's just the one that Jason's posted, but I've zoomed in on it a little bit.
All I can do right now is just sit here and look at this storm in awe. That's literally the only thing I can do at this moment.
Yeah.
As far as the cyclone destructive potential, because the storm is so small, I was rather surprised to plug everything in and find out that it is a quote-unquote only 49 on the CDPS. Now, this is the strongest storm to ever make landfall in the world, Typhoon Haiyan, got a 48 at landfall.
Oh, gosh.
And if you take a look at the CDPS, the only two storms that have made landfall are the more significant intensity on the CDPS, more significant destructive potential on the CDPS, would be Hurricanes Gilbert and Wilma, both of them on the Yucatan Peninsula.
Yeah. It all seems to be about Mexico, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this time it's the West Coast, and
I don't
think anyone predicted that this would happen.
I don't know if they're still expecting this storm. Are they expecting this storm to keep this intensity till landfall?
The NHC said that it would intensify to 205 miles an hour.
Oh, for God's sake!
They
no.
said it. They said it.
They haven't.
They did. Their last update at 12 UTC said it would intensify even further to 205 miles an hour before making that landfall. Who knows what intensity it would be at that landfall.
I would like to say that the advanced Dvorak technique, it has broke the Dvorak scale. This hurricane has broke the Dvorak scale.
Yeah.
Unbelievably, I'm going to take a look at one more source. I'm literally looking all over the place trying to find a source that doesn't have this storm to be an 8.0 right now, and it seems like Patricia's a 7.0 on this source. Okay. Jeez. But that's still Cat 5. 7.0 is Cat 5, but on the advanced Dvorak technique, Simus, the storm rate's in 8.1. That's 173 knots. That's what? That's rounded up to 200 miles an hour, right?
What was that, sorry?
173 knots, that rounds up to 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's had this raw intensity since last night. You know, I was commenting on this last night, but I was kind of joking about it. I'm like, this storm's not going to get up that high. It's silly. Come on now, it won't get there. And now it's here.
Let me just reiterate what the warnings are in effect for Mexico right now. There's a hurricane warning in effect from San Blas to Punta San Telmo. Pretty much the whole area around Jalisco and Colima, they're going to get absolutely
Hammered.
Puerto Vallarta is right in the middle of this cone.
Not quite. It's on the edge of the cone, but if it jogs to the west, I'm actually more concerned about Manzanillo at the moment.
A lot of people
Either
are
way,
concerned with
these guys are going to experience these hurricane force winds. Both of them.
Oh, absolutely. Puerto Vallarta has one thing going for it at least. It's slightly sheltered because it's in that little bay area there, inland a little bit, so it's got a little bit of a saving grace, but it's still going to get pounded by hurricane force winds, maybe major hurricane force winds. Manzanillo I'm extremely concerned about because it appears that the landfall is going to be only a few dozen miles away from Manzanillo itself. So that's going to be something else, I think.
Manzanillo, okay. I'm still well. I don't know about the populations. I know that Puerto Vallarta is a rather large city in Mexico. Manzanillo, I'm not.
I think Manzanillo is larger.
Manzanillo is larger, Jesus.
I think so. I don't know.
Well,
someone will tell me about that, I'm sure.
I just like to express a little bit of history from the NHC here. Before this 200 mile an hour advisory came out, the amount of 190 mile an hour advisories that were issued by the National Hurricane Center, in their entire history, they only issued one.
Yeah. And that was Camille? Oh, no. All right. I thought Camille.
The NHC wasn't formed by the time Camille was around.
Oops. Silly me.
Yep. So National Hurricane Center didn't issue that on Camille.
But someone did. Who did advisories back then?
There was still a National Weather Service in Miami, but they just weren't called National Hurricane Center.
I see. All right.
They didn't get formal until the 70s. This is like I said, the highest wind speed ever recorded reliably by aircraft. This is the lowest pressure recorded east of the international date line.
Oh, there's the first visible on the floater imagery. Look at that.
Okay, I gotta take a look at this because this has got to be unbelievable.
And it's definitely jogged a bit to the east there in those latest frames.
I still don't have 1330. Oh, there it is. Oh my.
Well, there we are.
My.
Just going to, I'm just looking at some of the comments. Not much is going on, it appears. If you've got any questions for us whilst we're on the air, we're only here for another 10 minutes or so. At least I am. I don't know about anyone else. I don't know what the live event schedule is at Force 13 HQ because I won't be here. I'm on vacation in 10 minutes.
I'm going to try to post something, directly after classes around 2 o'clock. Around 2 o'clock Eastern. That's going to be 1 o'clock to 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time. I'm probably going to start around 15 minutes after that.
So that's going to be in about.
And I'm going to, and if it hasn't made landfall to that point, I will be going until it makes landfall.
Yeah, of course.
This is a serious enough situation where
I don't know whether Jason might want to host a live event as well on Google Hangouts a little bit later on after I've gone. It's up to you. But just that I won't be here, and Jason and Devon are the only people who have the ability to do a live event on the Force 13 channel. But this is the current situation. You can see how strong the storm is. 200 miles per hour, a pressure of 880 millibars, stronger than any other storm in the Eastern Pacific by quite a distance, beating Linda with a pressure of 902 millibars, beating Rick with a 906, blowing them out of the water with a pressure of 880 millibars, 10 away from the all-time record around the world set by Typhoon Tip in 1979 in the West Pacific.
Also 15 miles an hour away from beating the all-time wind speed record set by Typhoon Nancy, also in the West Pacific.
That's right.
But this storm blows every other modern storm out of the water.
So basically, this is just a typhoon that's got lost.
Oh, well, maybe.
But I'm still joke to say that it's a very serious hurricane. Let's keep it in our minds at that.
1245 analysis by ADT puts the storm still has the storm at 173 knots.
What are the? We were talking about T numbers and stuff last night. What's the raw number at the moment?
8.3.
8.3, which has broken the scale, hasn't it?
The actual intensity number right now is 8.1. The adjusted and the raw numbers are 8.3. This is the strongest. The scale is supposed to be limited at 8.0. This storm has broken the scale.
Oh my God. Is it? Do you think it's still intensifying?
I can't imagine how it could be. This storm has broken
it's hard.
the Warwick scale. It's broken its maximum potential intensity value by 10, 15 knots. This storm wasn't supposed to pass 108.
Wow.
This storm was supposed to pass 185 miles an hour.
It has
This
that.
storm
It has
wasn't
a Gilbert look about it, don't you think?
Yeah, it kind of does remind me of Gilbert. Honestly, now that I look at this, but there's... Oh my God.
It's incredible just to look down on such a storm and see what it is harboring that power.
Yeah, maximum potential intensity is supposed to be 907 millibars at this point.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
And it's blown that completely out.
it's blown that sky high.
This is only the second storm that I've ever seen that has actually beaten its MPI value.
Oh, that's
Only
true.
storm that's done that is Hurricane Isabel.
And it's probably a rare occurrence, or is it actually quite recurrent?
Well, considering that this is theoretical physics that we're getting into here, the maximum potential intensity is supposed to be the theoretical limit on how strong a hurricane.
I'll give you this,
And
Devin.
the theoretical limit is usually way above what
You know how
hurricane-
Ram's supposedly to withstand everything? Well, you know the kinetic energy scale? It's went and broke it. It's went and broke it.
scale.
Well, I'll just screen share for those who don't know what that is. It's basically an animated graph. Watch what happens. It goes off the scale.
If we can see it. Oh, there it
Does
is.
it go off the top of the scale or the right of the scale?
To the right.
Yeah, well, that's the
But it's-
Saffir-Simpson scale.
But it's probably climbing as it does it as well. It's probably climbing as
That's
it does it as well.
Here's the thing, the hurricane kinetic energy scale is plotted along the vertical axis. The Saffir-Simpson hurricane intensity scale is plotted on the horizontal axis. So the fact that that goes completely beyond Cat 5 is not surprising.
Oh, no. It's that's a thing you just can't tell or can't legislate for, but it's power. It's just showing its power, saying it is. As honest, well, to be honest, I didn't think it was going to get to this. Well, wait, I'd never thought it would get to
Nobody could have seen this.
Exactly. Because to be honest, all I was seeing was probably a Cat 2 landfall, at least.
Honestly, when this storm formed, I thought it was going to move into the coast as a weak tropical storm.
That's what the models were saying.
Yeah, now look at it. It's a 200-mile-an-hour monster. I mean, I bet that
The
the
microwave
models,
is still horribly behind, but
it tells you the story.
at this time last night, Patricia was developing concentric eye walls.
So
which
basically,
is
it's carving eye walls.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So this is how many eye walls has it got on that microwave imagery? Just the one, or has it got more than one?
I'll try to find more up-to-date stuff, but this
Because the RAM's not really helping me out.
This is some next level stuff here.
RAM isn't helping me out. So
I will say this: I don't see the storm maintaining this intensity till landfall. We've
No.
seen what high mountainous terrain has done.
But it's going to be a Cat 5, don't you think?
it's a Cat 5
It's
landfall.
going to be
No,
Cat 5. It's going to be a Cat 5 at landfall, but does it make landfall 200 miles an hour? I don't see it.
Okay.
You've seen
Well,
what
we'll need to see the
mountainous
next
terrain
one.
does.
Well, guys, quickly.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to show before we finish the show? Because I really have to finish in a few moments.
Okay.
I am unable to screen share, so I can't show anything even if I wanted to.
All right, Craig.
Well, I can't really help about by the microwave imagery because it's, as Devin said, it is horribly behind.
Yeah, it is indeed.
I think it's at least, what, 24 hours, a couple of hours? Maybe more than a couple of hours, maybe 24
All right.
hours out.
It's 12 behind.
Okay then, well that's the end of our show then, at least for the time being. I'm sure Jason or Devon or whoever is going to be doing more live updates later on. Stay up to date on the Force 13 channel, subscribe to Force 13 on YouTube and you'll find the latest updates delivered conveniently to your YouTube channel or whatever you do with these subscription thingies. You can also stay up to date on the Facebook and Twitter, search Force 13 all in text, or you can add Fool 13 on Skype. Even though I'm going on vacation for the next 7 days, I will be available on Skype still, and I will be able to add you to the Force 13 chat room. So if you want to discuss storms on Skype in real time with the team, you can also do that as well. In the meantime, it's time for me to depart, but as I say, if any of these two, Devon or Jason, at worst, we're going to have another live update at what time, Devon?
Around 2:15 Eastern. That'll be 1:15 Central.
Okay, 2:15 Eastern time, so that's going to be around 4 hours from now, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it 5?
It will be 5 hours.
5 hours from now. But yeah, until then, stay up to date on the Force 13 channel. I'm sure there will be plenty of updates. There will be plenty of updates on Facebook and Twitter. But for myself, I wish Mexico the very best, as I'm sure the whole team does, as this remarkable 200 mile an hour storm closes in. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.